Morning and welcome to our Zoom worship service. And let us begin our service by acknowledging the land on which our homes and our church were built was not uninhabited when European settlers arrived here with their ideas of conquest and ownership. For those of us who live in Moscow, Pullman, or other nearby communities, we live on the ancestral homelands of the Nimiipuu, called Nez Perce by the French-speaking traders, the Palouse, and the cherish, called the Coeur d'Alene. If you're joining us from another place, I encourage you to discover who inhabited or moved through the place where you now live in the times before colonization and genocide. We pause and remember that we live on ground that is sacred, ground that was stolen, ground that cries out for justice and for responsible stewardship. May our remembering help us find the courage to do our part to restore wholeness to the earth and all her peoples. And now I invite you to join voices together for our words of welcome, our unison chalice lighting, and our sung affirmation. Say these words with me, please. Whoever you are, wherever you've come from, whatever your beliefs, whomever you love, and however bumpy your life's journey, know that you are welcome here. If you have a chalice or a candle to light, I'd invite you to light it now.
Hi, we're the Stewarts. I'm Lena.
I'm Juliet.
And I'm Lex.
In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek and seek to share.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung in every land by every tongue.
So today is our annual Earth Day service, and we are deeply honored to have Elliott Moffat with us. Elliott is a member of the Nez Perce Tribe in the Nimiipuu and has been active in the Nimiipuu Protecting the Environment movement. He lives in Lapwai and is a good friend of several UUCP members. Elliott, thank you so much for joining us. Ketsuyuyu. Indigenous-led environmental movements are proving to be wonderfully effective worldwide, actually, at stopping fossil fuel companies from destroying the planet for the sake of their profit margins. These movements are built with prayer, faith, courage, and really good lawyers who insist that treaty rights be honored. So I can think of no better way to celebrate Earth Day than to learn from Elliott. I do have an opening reading this morning. It's called Beatitudes for Earth Sunday, and it's by Richard Gilbert. Blessed are the heavens, they declare the power of creation. Blessed is the earth, our beloved home, for she is a planet of plenitude. Blessed are the waters thereon, for they gave rise to living things. Blessed is the land, for it is the source of life abundant. Blessed is the air we breathe, for it fires us to life and love. Of the field, for they are glorious to behold. Blessed are the birds of the air, for they carve a graceful arc in the sky. Blessed are the mountains and the valleys, for their variety makes rich our habitat. Blessed are the fields of grain, the orchards of fruit, for they give sustenance, asking nothing in return. Blessed are the dwellers on earth, for they cherish the privilege of living upon it. Blessed are they who protect the earth and all her creatures, from the plants of the field to the trees of the forest, for their reward shall be harmony with the web of existence. Rejoice and be glad, for the earth and her peoples are one. I invite you now to join in singing Blue boat home.
Oh, below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, grieve the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
I invite you now into a time of meditation or of prayer. Feel your feet on the ground. Settle your mind. Listen for your breath in and out. Now listen for your heartbeat. Can you hear the blood swish with every pulse? Our bodies hold the rhythms of the earth. We breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. The trees and plants answer us, breathing in carbon dioxide, breathing out oxygen. Our blood flows through our veins just as the water flows through the land. In our modern life, we are tempted by forgetfulness. We forget that we need the trees, need the water, need the wild beauty, and they need us. We let ourselves be insulated from our own interdependence by all the fake stuff we've been convinced that we need to be. in this moment for just this short time, let us be with our animal bodies. Let us remember that we need trees, need clean water, need wild beauty, and that they need us in return. Let us remember that we and the earth are one, that what happens to the earth happens to each and every one of us, and to the plants and the animals. We have to choose. We can be consumers, sacrificing the earth for the sake of stuff, or we can be protectors, releasing our attachment to stuff for the sake of the earth. This is the time of choosing. This is the time of turning. May we choose wisely. May we turn toward life. Amen, and blessed be.
Good morning, or as we say in Nez Perce language, Tots Mewi. My name is Elliott Moffat, as Reverend Elizabeth has said, and my Nimiipuu name is Et Palatket. I would like to thank the Unitarian Church for the invitation by Reverend Elizabeth and from Pat, and welcome the opportunity to visit with you all this morning. And I appreciate the services so far, and they pretty much reflect what we're all about in terms of our relationship to Mother Earth. And I'd like to say that on Mother Earth, that or on Earth Day, that we often call her Mother Earth. And so it's happy Mother Earth Day to everyone. And just like some of the ceremonies, some of the things that we go through, even though we have a special day, we still like to honor our mother every day whenever we can. And the things that you're doing are reflective of that. That even the Milkweed Project, that's a sign that we're still loving our Mother Earth and trying to take care of her as she takes care of us. And I'll just, what I'd like to speak about briefly this morning is a little bit about myself and the organization I'm from, and a little bit about the tribe I'm from as well. I was, as in our traditions, when somebody asks who you are, they usually mean, who are you related to? Where is your family from? And that because relationships, just like other communities, are big in our community as well. And so I would tell that my mother and father are, and my grandparents and great grandparents, and then people from other tribes would then know who I was. They don't know me by my credentials or by my education or anything like that. They know me by who I belong to. And as I said, I was named after Moses Monteith. His Indian name was Et Palatkat, and he was one of our first ordained Nez Perce ministers. And so I have a history of the ministry. Walter Moller, he's passed. My brother passed too, and he was the minister. And so I grew up in the church, but I also grew up in steeped in Indian culture and traditions. And my father and my mother is living, and they are both fluent speakers. And they said that there's no in our religion there should be no disagreements as far as that spirit law, as we call it. And so I can hear that in the voice and the message that the Unitarian Church possesses also, is that there's no difference there, or there's nothing logically inconsistent about the way we think and act with regard to our Mother Earth. Because in essence, we are celebrating and praising the Creator for where we are and come from. So I very much appreciate your service to date and recognizing and respecting where we are. And just to note that even though I think it's more a difference of perspectives, because there are many, we share commonalities, of course. We just talked about values that we share. And even in our history, we share the same kinds of histories. It's not unique to the Nimiipuu or the Nez Perce, but we've been here. The latest archaeological evidence is from about 16,000 years ago, which is one of the older archaeological sites in the United States. And so I know that, and during that period, we had in Nimiipuu history and culture, ours is an oral tradition. And so we passed on things orally. We didn't write down our histories and things like that to a great extent. So, but we did, I remember hearing stories about ice, snowy, big floods, and come to find out that there were floods here and helped create a lot of the terrain that we see in the Palouse, and in our there was the Missoula lakes that were formed and broke and created all of the land here. That actually happened. That was the last of the age during the Pleistocene era, I believe it is, that we find out that there, and that coincides with our archaeological evidence that we experienced. Our people experienced that. And of course, the Ice Age wasn't particular to this part of the, even North America. It happened in Europe as well. And Europeans had to go through ice ages where we had the average temperature about 26 degrees. So we can always be proud about that type of resiliency that we share and some of that experience. And of course, we had hunters just like in Europe as well. But I'd like to talk a little bit about a time for that reflection, and we have to do that as community, we have to reflect upon where we are with the COVID pandemic. We reflect and just as the church provides place for grieving, because we even have to grieve the fact that we can no longer get together in our communities and loss, and we should make sure that we're taking care of ourselves to grieve that loss and see if and Zoom is a response to that we can at least get together visually to pass on the word. We have to provide that space, and I'm glad to hear that the church is doing that, and we're trying to do that at the tribe as well. We always have to say that they don't represent the tribe because they have their own spokesperson. I'm the president of Nimiipuu Protecting the Environment, and we came about 13 when the megaloads issue was going on from Lewiston to Montana. These gargantuan pieces of equipment were headed towards Canada tar fields, and they were going through Nez Perce territory, and without consultation with the tribe. And so the tribe and many individuals, and I know people from Moscow, Pullman, Lewiston, and joined us in that effort. And I know that people on the Palouse also had their own megaloads issues as well. And many of you may have participated in those efforts to stop the exploitation and extraction of these tars and harm not only the communities that they're within. And so we, in our traditions, that we understood that connectivity, that if we are part of that transportation of those large pieces of equipment, that we are in fact part of that problem. And so we not only objected to that because they go through our country, but because what they were headed to do. And we felt that connectivity, and that worked in that instance with the help of very many people. And so that kind of gave us our impetus to know that there is activism within the tribe and our communities that needed a venue. And so that's why we organized, was to provide a venue for that kind of activism in the protection of Mother Earth. Then we moved on, and some of you have participated in our flotillas that we organized and held for breaching of the 4 lower Snake dams to free the Snake River and to help recover the fisheries and the hydrology of that river. And this past year we didn't have it because of the COVID, but we anticipate that once we contain COVID better, that we will be scheduling float events. And so that's part of my message, is that we for people that want to know how to support the Nimiipuu, the Nez Perce, Mother Earth, and the fisheries, is to join in calling for the breaching of the 4 lower Snake dams. And so that would be my only political message that I'm offering this morning. But I really appreciate the messages, and we're working on those same things within our little nonprofit organization as well. We try to, with our limited resources, help people out who are food insecure, and we do that. And then we're going to work on bigger issues of why we even have food insecurity within our area here. And so that leads us to rely more on our traditions and values. And there's a move now to go back to our traditional foods and diets. And we felt that we feel that that's more healthy and more in keeping with our values as well. And so there's that movement afoot. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Most of the, and another thing that we're doing too is we're trying to bring back more of our traditional values and cultures, because to us the status quo is not acceptable. And so we've been looking at policies and procedures. I'm a political science scientist by education, and so I know how governments work and how they don't work sometimes. And so we advocate for changes in policies and procedures that are going to be long-standing. And one of the procedures that we recently advocated for and sponsored was recognizing the rights of the Snake River. And this is a movement that we hope to build upon, in recognizing that in the legal framework of North America, the law does not protect the rights of rivers and animals and plants and things of that nature. Of environmental laws, most of them protect our use of those lands and environments. They don't necessarily consider the inherent values of those plants and animals. So in relation to that, then we got a resolution passed by our general council, and that's all of the voting members of 18 years and older. So that's a policy for the tribe now. And so now it's up to the tribal government to implement that policy in all of their dealings. So in the cases and in our management of resources, and we're going to even change our language. Resources connotates an economic term, economic phrases. And we want to move from seeing our natural world as a commodity. And so we're moving in that direction and trying to work with the tribe to change policies and procedures relative to that. And I'll just talk a little bit about the tribe. The tribe, we have about 3,500 members, and right now my family is vaccinated against COVID, so we've done some effort there, but I think we need more help in our public health policies and procedures as well, in order to contain such things as epidemics. And but we're vaccinated, and we're hopeful that I know that the tribe has helped vaccinate others, not just tribal members, but other folks as well. So I'm glad that they have done that. So again, our common values of clean air, clean water are things that we can agree upon. And I think that from what I've seen, there is hope. I'd like to have that a part of my message, is that there is hope, and I'm more hopeful from hearing congregations like the Unitarians. So that's very helpful to us, knowing that there's that type going on the Palouse. But I think I'll probably start. I didn't have anything else to add at this point.
Thank you so much, Elliott, for being with us and for sharing a little bit about your values and your culture and the stuff going on in your organization and in the tribe. Deep, deep gratitude. Again, Katsiyu.
That's yeah.
Katsiaya. Thank you.
For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise, for the joy of ear and eye, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise, for the wonder of each hour of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise, for the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
Our closing reading comes from Time Magazine, of all places, an article called "Love, Not Fear Will Help Us Fix Climate Change." Fear is not a sustainable motivator in health or in politics. In the short run, it gets our attention. It activates a primal part of our brain, the amygdala, that helps us survive a short-term crisis. For example, the proverbial saber-toothed tiger jumping out in front of us. In the long run, though, it's too scary to think that something really bad may happen to us. So we usually don't, at least not for long. Mortality rate is still 100%, one per person, but it's not something most people think about very often. What enables people to make sustainable changes in their lives, both personal and planetary, is not fear of dying. It's joy of living. Love is more powerful than fear as a sustainable motivator. We will address tough challenges to help our loved ones that we might not do just for ourselves. If it's meaningful, then it's sustainable. If it feels good, then it's sustainable. If it's fun, then it's sustainable. If we are going to find sustainable ways of dealing with global warming, we have to base it on love and feeling good, not fear and loathing. Please join in singing our sung benediction. There is a love.
There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all my
Please join me in saying the words to embody chalice flame. We extinguish this chalice that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light our paths as we leave this place. May it guide our way until we are together again. To close, I just want to offer deep gratitude to Mother Earth, to Elliott for being with us, to the rain and the clouds and the trees and the plants and the animals, for life, deep gratitude for life. May this gratitude and this love motivate us and guide us in all that we do and all that we are. Amen, and blessed be.